Alright, this video is for learning target 7, starting on page 39 through 42. Go ahead and turn to page 39, please. So our learning target is I can write and graph equations in standard form. So you're going to learn a new form today, a third form. So you already know slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. You know point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times, in parentheses, x minus x1, close the parenthesis. And then today, the third form is called standard form. So this is the least used form. I'm going to show you how this form is being used. But it's a little different than the two that you're used to. So this is actually standard form right here. It reads a times x plus b times y equals c. Now the one thing that you need to know about this form is, the only thing you need to know at this point, is standard form is basically rewriting the equation so the x and y are on one side of the equal sign. Okay, this a, b, and c right here, you don't need to worry too much about them. They don't represent slope or an ordered pair or anything. They just represent coefficients, which means that they are just numbers at this point. Okay, so stick with me here. So the first part here, we're going to write equivalent equations that are in standard form. So you see here is 3 standard form equations. Notice the x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, and we're just going to write some equivalent equations that are equivalent to what is given. So our first one, let's see if you can see what I'm doing here. An equivalent equation to x plus y equals 3, we could write 2x plus 2y equals 6. These two equations right here, they're equivalent. Okay, so notice what I did. I basically just took each piece and I doubled it. I multiplied each piece by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2x, 2y times 2 is 2y, 3 times 2 is 6. These two are equivalent. Okay, let's try another one. About 7x minus 21y equals negative 49. Can you rewrite an equation that's equivalent to the original problem? Well, let's see if you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to write negative 1x plus 3y equals 7. So, what did I do here? How are these two equivalent? What is the one change that I did? Well, what I did is I divided each term by negative 7. So, divide by negative 7, 7x divided by negative 7 is negative 1x. Divide by negative 7 this piece, and you have to stop, chop this, keep that in mind. And negative 21y divided by negative 7 is a positive 3y. And I divided this by negative 7, that equals positive 7. So these two equations are equivalent to each other. And last one, again, there's multiple equivalent equations you can write. How about 12x plus 6y equals 3? An equivalent equation you can write is 4x plus 2y equals 1. What did I do there? I divided everything by 3. Okay, 12x divided by 3 is 4x. 6y divided by 3 is 2y. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Another one you could write is 24x plus 12y equals 6. What did I do there? I just doubled each term by multiplying each term by 2. Okay? So those are equivalent equations. They look different, but they actually are the same equation here. All right. This next part here. How do I write an equation in standard form? Well, here are your 5 steps. Okay? Most of these steps you know, the only new step is going to be number 4, which is rewriting in standard form. So we're going to find our slope first. We're going to write our equation in point slope next. So this is your point slope. Whoops. Point slope form. Then we're going to take our point slope and then we're going to rewrite it in slope intercept form. And then we're going to take our slope intercept form and we're going to write it in standard form. Okay, in the end, you're going to see 3 different forms happening. And then last up, you're going to check an ordered pair to make sure that after all these rewritten equations, you rewrote it correctly by step 5. Okay? So let's take a look at our first one. Notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to walk you through each one of these steps here on how to write an equation in standard form. We have write an equation in standard form of the line that is shown here. So our first step, we're going to find the slope. Because it's a graph, let's just count slope. So it looks like it's rise 2 and run backwards 2. So rise 2 and run backwards 2. So 2 over negative 2 is the same thing as saying the slope is negative 1. 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. Okay? Second step, we need to write an equation in point-slope form. Well, we already have the slope, the slope, we need to actually use an ordered pair now. So let's use the easiest ordered pair that we see. Let's choose the ordered pair 1, 1. Okay? If you chose negative 1, 3, in the end, everybody gets the same answer. There's just multiple ways to go about this. Use the ordered pair that's easiest for you. So let's go ahead and plug in our point and our slope into our our point slope form. So we're going to get y minus our y1 is our 1 equals m, which is negative 1, parentheses, x minus my x1, which is also a 1. Lots of 1's happening here. And all I did here is I just plugged in my point and my slope into my point slope form here. Okay? Third step, let's rewrite our equation in y equals mx plus b. So let's go ahead and do some rewriting here. We're going to solve for y, so let's move everything over. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop, chop, chop. We're going to do distributor property here. So I'm going to distribute this negative 1 to this x to get rid of these parentheses. I'm going to get negative 1x plus negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. I still have a y minus 1 over here. I'm going to undo this minus 1 by adding 1. And I'm going to end up with y equals, because this cancels out, negative 1x plus 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, so there's our third step. We just rewrote this equation in y equals mx plus b. Okay, there's your y equals mx plus b. All right. Fourth step. Now let's rewrite our equation in standard form. ax plus by equals c. So basically what I'm asking to do is get the x and the y on the same side of the equal sign. That's basically what standard form is. So currently the x and y are separate sides of the equal sign. Our main goal is there's only one step in this. Let's move this x over to the left side so the x and y are together, and we'll leave the other number on its own side here. Okay, so let's take this. I'm going to continue this. I want to move this piece over to the left side with this y here. So how do I undo a negative 1x? I'm going to add 1x to both sides. So this cancels out. The 2 is going to drop down. And I'm going to end up with y plus 1x. And there you go. That is standard form. It's all a matter of just one step here. Okay? Y plus 1x. So that would be step 4 right there. That is your standard form. Okay? All right. Last step then. How do you check to make sure after all of these steps you actually did this correct? Well, in my equation that's in standard form, I have y plus 1x equals 2. I'm going to check an ordered pair. I can either check my 1 and 1, or I can check my negative 1 and 3. Ideally, it'd be nice that you check both of them to make sure they are correct. So let's actually check our first point, 1, 1. So right now we're doing a check. Let's check 1, 1. Okay? Now this is, you can do this many ways. Just you can use your calculator, or you can write down your check. That means if I plug in a 1 into the x and a 1 into the y, because I have the ordered pair 1, 1, it should equal 2. So does 1 plus 1 times 1 equal 2? Yes, it does. Okay, let's check the other ordered pair to see if that one works. Let's check negative 1, 3. So if I plug in, let's move this to make some space here. If I plug in a negative 1 into my x and then a 3 into my y, because that's my negative 1, 3, it should equal 2. So let's take a look. I have 3 plus 1 times negative 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 3 plus negative 1 does indeed equal 2. So my second ordered pair does check. So in the end, I know that I rewrote my equation in standard form correctly here. So in all, you're going to actually see in all your work, you have basically found the slope, you have rewritten for this one line 3 different equations, all in different forms for this equation. You have point slope, slope intercept, and standard form. Okay? Let's go ahead and give the second one a try here. Following the same exact steps, it says write an equation in standard form of the line that passes through the 2 points. So my first step is we're going to find the slope. So we're going to find our slope here. So let's go ahead, y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. I'll get my pen straight here. All right, y1 minus y2. So my m is negative 1 minus negative 3. There's my y's. And then 3 minus 2. Stop, chop, chop. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Looks like my slope is a 2. Second step. Write an equation in point-slope form, okay? Point-slope form, we already have our slope. Let's pick an ordered pair. I'm going to pick, you can pick 1 or 2 here. It's up to you. Let's pick 0.2. I'm going to use the ordered pair 2, negative 3. So here's my point-slope form equation. Y minus negative 3, which is the same thing as saying plus 3, equals my m parentheses x minus my actual x here, which is a 2. Second step is done. Third step. Let's go ahead and rewrite our equation in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and do our rewrite. Let's distribute. So I'm going to get 2x minus 2 times 2 is 4. I have a y plus 3 over here. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. I'm going to get y equals 2x. This is a negative 4. Stop, chop, chop. Negative 4 minus 3 is a negative 7. Okay? So there's our slope-intercept form. Now, if you want to check along the way that you're actually doing this correct, you can plug in this ordered pair 2, negative 3 or 3, negative 1 into your x and y. It should still work. So if we try it, 2 goes into the x. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus negative 7 does equal negative 3. So I know I'm still on the right track. I can even check point 1. 3 is the x. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus negative 7 does equal negative 1. So I know we're on the right track here. Fourth step, rewrite your equation in standard form now. So the one step, let's get this 2x over on the same side with the y. Well, it's a positive 2x, so let's undo this by subtracting the 2x from both sides. So the 2x is no more, and we're going to get a negative 7 that drops down, and in the end we're going to get y minus 2x. Okay, I know it's out of order as far as ax plus by, but it doesn't matter. As long as you have the x and the y on the same side of the equal sign, you have rewritten in standard form. So we have our 3 forms here. We have point slope, slope-intercept, standard form. Let's go ahead and check our standard form to make sure that we followed through all the steps here correctly by checking our ordered pairs here. So let's check the ordered pair 2, negative 3. If I put in a 2 for the x and a negative 3 for the y, it should equal negative 7. Well, let's take a look. I'm going to stop, chop, chop this. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 3 plus negative 4 does equal negative 7. So the first ordered pair checks. Let's go ahead and double check our other ordered pair and see if that also works. 3, negative 1. So if I plug in a 3 into the x, the y is a negative 1, it should equal negative 7. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 1 plus negative 6 does equal negative 7. So I know that also checks as well. So in the end, the final answer to our problem here where it says write an equation in standard form, the actual piece I'm looking for is this piece right here. Y plus negative 2x equals negative 7. All right, so that's standard form. Really, all these steps are very similar to what we're used to doing. The only new step is step 4, is moving that x over on the same side with the y. Let's go ahead and do our last problem here, page 40. This problem is going to kind of show you what standard form, how it's used in an actual word problem. Okay? So we have a problem that says a dog kennel charges $20 per night and $5 per doggy treat. Part A says write an equation that models the possible combinations of nights and treats that you can buy for $100. So you have $100 and you want to know what possibilities you can spend your $100 if you know it costs $20 per night to put your dog into this dog kennel. It's like a doggy hotel, and then it costs $5 per doggy treat. Okay? So we have an x and y, and we're going to use standard form here. So we have to identify what our x and y is. Let's go ahead and say x is one variable, which is number of nights, because we have no idea how many number of nights we want to stay. Let's call y, or the y, the number of doggy treats that you buy, because you don't know how much you can buy. You can buy as many as you want, but you only have $100. So how do you write an equation for this? Well, if x is the number of nights, I know in my standard form I have a times x. Okay, I know that it's $20 per night, so I'm going to do 20 times x. Plus, if my y here is number of treats, and I know it's $5 per treat, I'm going to do $5 times the number of treats. All of this is going to equal C. Well, I have a total of $100 that I can spend, so I'm going to have $100 here. Okay, so this is our equation. In standard form, notice the x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. That models the dog kennel charges $20 per night, $5 per doggy treat. You have $100 that you can spend. Second part, let's graph the equation. Well, you only need 2 ordered pairs in order to make a line of a graph, right? So let's see if we can find 2 ordered pairs. The 2 easiest ordered pairs are the 2 extremes. So keep in mind, the x is the number of nights, right? And the y is the number of treats. So let's pretend that we are deciding to stay 0 nights at this doggy kennel. So we want to spend all our money, or all of our $100, on just the treats. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my equation and I'm going to put in 0 for my x. So I'm going to have 20 times 0 plus 5y equals 100. And I want to know how many treats I can buy for $100 if I were to stay 0 nights. Well, 20 times 0 right here is 0. And all I have to do here is figure out what y is. Well, this 0 really doesn't do anything for us, so we can actually just erase it. We have an equation 5 times y equals 100. And we know the one inverse operation to undo this is we're going to divide by 5. Divide by 5. Well, y is going to equal 100 divided by 5 is 20. So that means when the x is 0, we stay 0 nights, we can buy, the y is 20 treats that add up to be $100. And you can check it. Does 20 times 0 plus 5 times 20, does it equal 100? Yes, it does. Okay, so we have one ordered pair. Let's go ahead and find the other ordered pair. So I'm going to erase this. And let's do the other extreme. Let's pretend we don't want to buy any treats, 0 treats. So I want to know how many nights I can spend total at this doggy kennel if I have $100. So because I have 0 treats, I'm going to have 20x plus 5. My y is treats. I'm going to plug in a 0 in for my y. And let's go ahead and solve for x. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. Everything else stays the same here. So we have 20x plus 0 equals 100. Well, this plus 0 doesn't do anything for us. It's not useful at all, so let's go ahead and delete it. And let's undo this times 20 by dividing by 20. And we're going to get x equals 100 divided by 20 is 5. This means that you can stay 5 nights, at this doggy kennel without buying any treats, and you have spent your full $100 that you have. Okay, and you can check it. Does 20 times the x, which is 5, which is 100, plus 5 times 0 equal 100? Yes. Okay, so we have two ordered pairs. Let's go ahead and graph this then. So I know my x-axis here is number of nights, so let's do number of nights. And I know the number of nights, the biggest number I need, I have 0 and 5 is 5, so let's just go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we know our y here is treats, so if we do treats here, can't write sideways, and we know our biggest number we need is 20, smallest number is 0, so 0, let's just do 2, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, sure. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. And let's go ahead and plot our points here. 0, 20, so 0, 20 is up here. 5, 0, 5, 0 is this point right here. This is 5 nights, 0 treats. Go ahead and do the best you can. Connect the dots. And you have the graph of 20x plus 5y equals 100 plotted on your graph. Okay? And basically, you're going to see a lot of this more next year. This is just an introduction to standard form and graphing this. All along this line are all the possible combinations of treats and nights that you can get for $100. So there's a combination, there's a combination, there's a whole bunch of combinations here. So like this one right here, you could stay 2 nights and get 12 treats, and that should equal $100. You could stay 3 nights and get 8 treats. That should equal $100 as well. Okay, let's go ahead and close this with a summary for standard form. So in order to write an equation in standard form, you're going to follow these 5 steps in this order. They're also on the previous page here, but just to review. Find slope, start with point slope form, then go to slope-intercept form, then standard form, and then don't forget to check. Okay, the check is going to be the most powerful to you, so you know if you are correct or not correct. All right, go ahead and begin your classwork, your practice here, and give a few a shot to make sure you truly actually understand what's going on. Good luck.